Fight fans, welcome. This is the Eternal MMA 76 breakdown, recap, revisit, dissect and plan for the future with Callan the Rockstar Potter. Now, Callan the Rockstar Potter is a former UFC fighter, Australian MMA pioneer, loves the regional fight scene, which is just great to see. And of course, we nerd out and plan all the fights for the future and how Eternal MMA 76 went. I think you can still see it on UFC on Fight Pass. We hit up Eternal MMA on Instagram. But yeah, got all the results as well. If you want to find the exact results, there was, I believe, 5-6 finishes. Tapology, go to Eternal MMA 76, I think, on there. And of course, find Callan underscore UFC, Cowpot underscore UFC. On Instagram if you want to get involved, or Australian MMA underscore as well. But yeah, right now, guys, this is all about Eternal MMA 76, the card that was myself and Callan, the Rockstar Potter. Ladies and gentlemen, joining me on the show, as always, Callan, the Rockstar Potter. Hey, mate, huge Eternal MMA card, Eternal MMA 76, HBF Stadium, June 10th. First of all, got the card here, got the results. We're here to talk about it. First of all, what was the fight that stood out the most for you?
Great card, awesome card. I was down the beach with my father, sipping a glass of Shiraz, watching it. He was giving me his basic points of view of what's going on. But look, great card. Look, it's hard to go over. There was not one decision on the main card. That's correct.
Not at all. Not one decision. I do not believe. No.
And sometimes that can be a little bit detrimental from a matchmaking point of view. You don't want to, sometimes makers might go, oh, well, maybe we haven't matched well. You can't say those fights weren't matched well. You look at the lineage of the guys fighting, they were all great matches. They were just guys having performances.
Yeah, and every finish was clean. Like there wasn't one like, oh, maybe early stoppage, or I don't know, you just got caught there. Like it kind of looked very one-sided. Every fight.
Yeah, spot on. It's like I said, again, from a matchmaker's point of view, you might go, oh, well, what have I done? You've done nothing wrong. You've put the best matches on you could. They were great matches. I was like, you and I were pumped leading into it, but guys just showed up and really put on some performances. It was really good to see.
The one fight that stood out for me the most, and it might not be the biggest highlight for everyone, but it was actually George Mangos taking out Aaren McConnell. Absolutely dominated Aaren McConnell. And I think people need to understand just how good Aaren McConnell is. A few years out, but he's trained in with some of the best guys in the world. Jackson Wink in America with those, Cowboy Cerrone, all those like Mike Perry. He's actually sparred rounds. I know some guys that might train at AKA, but really they're doing like the intermediate class. They're not really mixing it up. But he's trained with guys of that level. He beat Tom Nolan in the amateur.
Tom Nolan as an amateur.
Yeah, and Tom Nolan's now 5-0 as a pro and getting ready for Dana White Contender Series. Aaren McConnell is at least was for real. I think he still is, but I mean, you can talk better than anyone. How real is ring rust?
Yeah, look, it does play a part. Again, it's a lot of things that come to this sport, the mental game, diet. It's such a personal experience. So to say ring rust is real, it absolutely is, but it does not have the same effect on person A as it is on person B. Obviously, that can play a part. I think the biggest thing that happened was his opponent, Mangos, he came in there with a fire. You know what I mean? It wasn't like, you don't want to say that's what it was, but it looked borderline just from watching disrespectful. Yeah. Like, you know what I mean? He's like, oh, no, you come here, mate. This is what's going to happen tonight. It was real Big Brother type stuff.
Yeah, there's a few moments, and another fight happened on this card as well, where I basically go, all right, cool. They finally got Aaren McConnell a fight. Can't wait to see what Aaren McConnell does. Now, I watched George Mangos on Beatdown Promotions, Damien Brown's in Queensland, and he did great. And I was like, awesome. He's game enough to fight Aaren McConnell. Can't wait to see how good Aaren McConnell does. And although that feels disrespectful to do at the start, when you see what George does, I feel like he takes all that hype personally that I had for Aaren McConnell and he runs off with it. And now George Mangos, I'm putting on such a pedestal.
Oh, 100%. How could you not? Just the performance like that against, like you said, an A-grade opponent. Oh, he's off to the races now, that kid, in a very tough division.
Yeah. And I mean, look, if you're Aaren McConnell, what are you doing? Just back to the drawing board. If you're George Mangos, what are you doing?
Yeah, again, McConnell, he's just got to find his feet again. Like you said, he spent so much time out of it. He's got to, you know what I mean, it may be a ring rust thing. He's got to find out what's going to his run from here. Mangos, like I said, it's only early. That's only puts him at 2-0. That's correct. Yes. Yep. Very, very breaching stages of his career, the pro career now. But like I said, that is a killer division, and I'm sure there'll be some very tasty matchups just in the early stages of his career already. So I'm excited for him.
Yeah, very, very excited about the 145 and 155 in Australia. Those 1-0, 2-0 guys. It's starting to get really exciting. I mean, I know it's a division up, but like even the Harry Webb bouncing onto the scene and whatnot, like those guys that are now 1-0, 2-0, they're coming in with these extensive amateur careers.
Yeah, spot on.
And that's why you're seeing guys like Tom Nolan be 5-0 getting picked up for the UFC when you had to have 412 fights before you got looked at.
Yeah, spot on this. And I love the avenue of that. As long as it's used properly, I love the avenue of let's try and work out some of these nuts and bolts in the amateur ranks. You know what I mean? Try to I couldn't care less if you have a 5-5 amateur record. You know what I mean? I'm not sure how many people look at that. You can do that, then go on to have a 5-0 pro record. You know what I mean? Tom Nolan had his, like you said, had his setbacks in amateur, and now look at him, he's gone on a tear at pro. That's the avenue for it. Watching guys have 27 amateur fights defending amateur titles 12 times. I'm not sure either, that's the avenue. I'm not sure what we're trying to accomplish quite there. But, the avenue, Harry Webb's a good example. Great, he did defend an amateur title a couple times, but he worked out a lot of his bolts, and he's going to be a force to reckon with.
Yeah, he really, really is. We move on to the impressive victory by Toby Meech. And I said it first, I always knew Toby Meech by name, not by game, which means I always saw him on cards, but I had never actually sat down and watched him. And I was very impressed.
Yeah, he looked awesome. Renouf, I stuffed up in my prep. I didn't realize Renouf took that on the late notice. Yeah, anyone that's not a real in-depth, particularly in the Australian scene, is not going to be impressed with that because, and I'm sure you won't be upset with me saying this, a lot of people probably said about myself as well. You look at him and he doesn't look like much Renouf. You know what I mean? A little bit awkward on his feet, but he is a beast. You know what I mean? That guy is not only durable, but super skilled. So Mitch coming in and handle like that, it won't be as impressive to your casual fan. That's a huge win. Not only getting a win over him, but in this fashion he did. Like Renouf is super legit. So for Mitch to come in there and handle the business the way he did was overly impressive.
And Meech now, I believe, training out of Scrappy MMA with those killers. So.
Oh, yeah. Good crew down there now.
Here's something I want to ask you, just based on that, Jim. You were part of the old resilience sort of everyone coming together, basically making a super fight team, and obviously then people are off doing their own thing. Do these super teams, like we're seeing at Scrappy MMA and whatnot, where everyone's coming from all over to train together, does that have an expiry date?
Again, similar to what I said before with the ring rust, it's going to be a case-by-case basis. You know what I mean? We were, I was very lucky to be involved in things, and you know what I mean. As much as I don't like giving a man credit when I don't have to, Dan Kelly formulated, a good part of that. You know what I mean? There was a couple of pro groups were originally at like Absolute MMA, Dominance MMA, and then we moved to Resilience. You know what I mean? We used to get that together. There wasn't enough high-level guys at that stage to be staying solely out of a gym. You know what I mean? I was at that stage at Renegade MMA, I was the only guy fighting MMA. So to have to go find that, you did need it. We had a great training group. We still have, people come through here to this day and still getting involved in it. It just disbanded a little bit. There's other groups going on. But I don't think people are going to put into or take in how much work that takes. You know what I mean? To allow people to come in to formulate these melting pots of skill, it takes a lot of work. You know what I mean? And if people do it right, they can go forever. If people don't pay it the respect it deserves, it might sort of dissipate quicker than they want.
And now, where are Jamie Renouf and Toby Meech? What do you see from them next? Where do you think they're going?
Yeah, that's a little bit different. As much as only one, like 10 pound, couple of kilo down from thing, that's not quite as deep, the bantamweights divisions. You know what I mean? Meech, he's coming off a loss before this one, wasn't he? So he's 1-1 in his last two.
I believe so, but I think he's 5-2 overall. 5-2
overall. That sounds about right. Yeah. Look, he's at that. He's not at the entry-level stage. He's not at probably title movement stage, but that he might be. He might be. It's such an impressive win on the local scene over a gun. You got to look at that sort of stuff. But you know what I mean? I don't think he's quite going to be jumping with Costa just yet. but he may be one win off working for something like that.
And then we, of course, move on to a absolute just barn burner of a fight in terms of violence. Aldin Bates taking on Stu Dare. Now, you've got a deep and long and extensive relationship with Stu Dare. How did you feel emotionally? Did you see the retirement coming?
No, I've been in contact. I message Stewie every now and then, just check how he's going and little contact. I remember doing a fight to one of my matches to make once afterwards, and every now and then I'll get a message. Stewie video called me after one of them when I matched him, just to inform me what he really wanted. He's just a sensational guy. We've got to give credit to Bates. It's his win, but before we go into that, just huge credit to Stewie Dare, absolute legend of the scene. Maybe I'd like to think someone more important than my good self one day we'll start maybe formulating an Australian or local MMA Hall of Fame. And I guarantee you want to talk about a man that's guaranteed to be in there, it would be Stu Dare.
Funny you bring that up. That is on the vision board of mine.
Your first entry.
Do you think that because he had to pull out, Stu Dare had to pull out earlier, I think it was, he was the one with Hoshi Friedrich with the Salt Fight series where he had to pull out a couple of days before. Do you think it's just that had to do with it as well and everything, and he's just sort of thought, man, I'm going to call time on this career?
He's been in the game for so long, you know what I mean? And I was talking about in the prelim just how durable he is, and he still is. I still believe that. But he's very similar to my good self. He's never been a defensive-minded fighter, you know what I mean? He's taken his licks. Like he said, he's still is copacetic and everything, but I think he's just making a smart man move. That's a man with a family, you know what I mean? He's got other things. He's still involved in coaching. I think he's picked the perfect time, you know what I mean? Picked the perfect time.
And Aldin Bates, 36 years old, still one of the hardest hitters in Australia, just violent KOs. Always looks pretty relatively not messy. That's I don't mean it like that, but that very brawling style where you think, how's this going to go? I don't know what's going to happen. But Aldin Bates always seems to come on top.
Yeah, like he's just got, like he said, he's just got ham hocks. If he just swings them from weird angles, he's certainly not going to be a pinpoint style, set up style striker. He's going to fill your, the area you are inhabiting with as much nasty crap as he can. And if you're still standing after that, more power to you. But no, he's a very dangerous. He's 36 going on 24, built like an Adonis, and just a very scary man to be in front of, I'd imagine.
Did you see the very bizarre after the fight interview where they basically were like, Aldin Bates, you're going to fight for the title? You're going to fight Joseph Luciano for the welterweight belt? And he went, yeah, fuck Andrew Mills.
Yeah, that was pretty much it, wasn't it? Like, I didn't realise that, Andrew Mills had rear-ended his car on the way then, because he obviously got a real big grudge against him. Didn't buy him a beer at the pub or something. Really unhappy with him, Mr. Andrew Mills. But he's sort of done the smart thing. Look, he can go in there and take anyone off his feet with the power he's got. But I liked it. What I would have said with him not saying that is, look, before you're moving towards Luciano, who's got such a grappling pedigree, let's get him in there with a grappling heavy fighter before he gets in there, just to make sure those grappling chops are up to where they want to get to before he gets into that title fight.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. And I think although Aldin can and knock your head off your shoulders, if he can shut down a grappler, that would be really nice. Because Luciano is so heavy on that grappling. Look what he did to Caleb Rideout. I would just like to go in with a little bit more hype if I can see a fight where, I know he did well against Varkey, who's really good on the grapple end. But yeah, if he could just shut down another grappler, then I would be super hyped for that fight. Still hyped, but I'd be super hyped for it. Also, just checking on the Andrew Mills, bloody 3 straight losses. To Theo Christakis, John Varkey, and Joseph Luciano, good guys.
Yeah,
obviously lost to Matt Vale as well. But yeah, interesting to call out a guy that's
something's happened there. There's obviously some sort of backstory, you know what I mean? Like you said, he's rammed his cards, didn't buy him flowers for Valentine's. I've got no idea what it is, but he's not a very happy man. Yeah, Mr. Bates, and he wants skills.
That's a scary call out when someone goes, do you want the belt? And they're like, no, I want this guy instead. You'd be like, oh.
Yeah. Mills is sitting at home with a tub of ice cream there and going, what the hell did I do, mate?
What did I do?
Under my belt.
Oh, mate. Look, co-main event. I said it I was the first one to say it. I was like, I think it might be too soon for Quillan Salkilld to be in there for the record, not the skill, the record. And boy, did he shut me up.
Oh, mate, I was the same. No, exact same. I was going to try and pepper that. No, so I thought, that's a big call out for a young kid, 3-1. Very talented. We knew how good he was, but Donnelly's a nightmare for anyone. And then bang, just this cleaner 1-2 down the pipe. And just sat Donnelly down. You know what I mean? That's the only other time Donnelly's lost similar thing, early strikes. You know what I mean? So obviously that's something he's got to address as well. But Salkilld, just an absolute beast.
That's one thing that I hopefully doesn't sink in with Blake Donnelly. I don't know if it's a technical thing or hopefully it doesn't stay as a mental thing, but it's almost like it could turn into that sort of Cowboy Cerrone thing where, like, if you can get him early, you can get him. It might stick in the mind because Dimp's obviously caught him early, Dimp's Gillies, and then now Quillan Salkilld. And if he can last beyond that minute, he's whooping everyone. So it's like, as a fighter, do you come across these sorts of things where it can stick in your head mentally?
Yeah, maybe. I think it's a style thing for him a little bit too as well, whether that's the same with Cerrone, and that's a perfect example there, perfect comparison as well. He's such a long-range striker. I think he's so comfortable, particularly at lightweight, at his range. So I think he finds himself quite safe when he was at range, and at that time he was at range. When Dimps got hold of him, he managed to penetrate that range. You know what I mean? I think he's got to learn that even though he is a range-based fighter, he's very skilled at keeping people at range. People are going to be able to get past him. People are going to still be able to get setups on him. So he needs to have that secondary level of defense, being his cover, being his head movement, being his footwork. You know what I mean? The range is not 100% certain of success.
And fights to make, just personally, I wouldn't mind Blake Donnelly taking on Dimp Skillies. I wouldn't mind that.
Rematch,
Rematch, that would be nice. And Quillan Salkilld, I think I just selfishly want him and Josh Togo to go at it.
Oh, jeez, that would be great.
Although I do believe that Martinez, Kieran Joblin, the winner of that, might take it. Who do you want to see out of those three?
Yeah, look, the Togo fight's amazing. You know what I mean? I'm a big rap for Togo. You know what I mean? Up and down in that last fight, didn't quite go anything his way, but skill-wise, that guy's with the upper echelon of anyone. So Togo fighting anyone, I'm happy to watch. You know what I mean? Potentially Salkilld, who's just aim as, I'm happy to get right on that.
I also look at the George Soteropoulos fight with Josh Togo's, and I don't mean a money fight for George, but I mean, like, it's almost like George Soteropoulos, if he continues to fight, will be his like own division. Like, it will just be like
a good point. Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
I know exactly what you're saying. Yep. I know exactly what you're saying. You know what I mean? It's like, okay, do I go for the title or do I take the George fight? You know what I mean?
Because you're going to
he's going to be like the Connor.
Yeah.
He's going to be the sidestep. He's going to be the sidestep. Hey, just quickly, I'm not sure we did it on purpose. We sidestepped the fight that I was very keen to talk about, future fights afterwards anyway, which was Bruin and Kappa.
Oh, yes. Where's Kappa? John Bruin. Why do I do that every time?
I don't know, but
I always skip the best fight.
That's the one. I've got a couple of shifty sidewinders for you.
All right. I mean, where's Kappa? Obviously putting on a hell of a display. The towel being thrown in by Bruin's corner.
Yeah.
What do you got for me?
Yeah, I said, I was again watching with my dad, and I said when they went to the corner, because he went to the corner in the first, Kappa dropped him with a body shot. But they didn't really talk about it much on the thing, but he 100% dropped him with a body shot. At the end of that second, I said to my dad, I said, he's not coming out. He's done. Did they disclose what the issue was, or was it just he was just beaten?
No, I think it was just quit, quote unquote, quit on the stool type thing.
Yeah,
it was just
okay. So there was no substantial injury or anything. He was just I don't think he anticipated it, and I think there's a good majority of the Australian MMA community that just didn't anticipate how difficult that man was going to be to get down and hold down and dominate with the grapple, because he was not having a bar of it, Mr. Kappa.
Yeah, it was very impressive. I really thought, and I even said this to Wes, I thought Bruin was just going to come out, shoot a double, take him down, take his neck, choke him out. And we all still would have gone, yep, Wes is still amazing on the feet, yada, yada.
Well done. Legend.
But I just did not think he would be as good defending the takedown. And just, he's looked primed and ready. Like, I would like to see him maybe just one more fight just to make it sure. Then give him the belt. Give him the belt. Who cares?
I mean, could not agree more.
Yeah.
Could not agree more. Yeah, but they're now you're looking to the matchups. So we're staying up with lightweight because again that was a super lightweight. So we're looking we're going back down to lightweight. The line and length matchup is the loser of Martinez Joblin. That's the line and length. That's okay. There's a grappling heavily person there. That's the line and length. Sidestep, a slight sidestep. This isn't a big sidestep. This is just a slight sidestep. Where's the uncrowned king of that division, Mr. Jack Becker? Where is he at with his recovery?
Okay, I do have some stories. I do have some stories that can and cannot be said. Jack is, from all accounts, looking good, and I would say, to be safe, and I'm speaking out of turn, I'm probably going to get abused, but I reckon by November
you could be looking at something.
I could be wrong. I could be speaking out of turn here, but I think he is back to normal now. Yeah. So then you go into, I need to get fit as an athlete, and I need to get fight fit. Yeah.
Okay, beautiful. So I wanted to bring his name up, one, because that's a really straightforward. Then I know Cap is doing some work down at Scrappy as well, so that puts a bit of a damper on that one. But two, I wanted to bring his name up just to keep him relevant. Everyone needs to realise that I want to take any shine off anyone that is carrying a lightweight title, but that's a little bit of an uncrowned champ there. You know what I mean, Mr. Becker? You know what I mean? He's still within there. I want to keep him relevant within that too. Here's the giant sidestep, and I know you'll love this one. So we're putting away any common sense here. This is solely for fan service. He goes, stuff it. I'm not cutting weight. Cutting weight sucks. We're going back up to welter. Where's Cuppa? Aldin Bates.
Oh.
Tell me you wouldn't pay. Tell me you wouldn't pay money.
There's about 40 kilos in that.
Oh, mate, Aldin to do it. Cap would do it. Kappa would do it. Kappa's a psycho. He's like, mate, you know what? That even the super lightweight cut was hard. Let's just go back up to welter.
But did you? I'm pretty sure. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure Aldin. I don't think he did miss weight, but I do know he looked like death.
He struggled to make, did he?
Yeah, well, he always does. He's an absolute professional. He works so hard. You should see his if you check him out on Instagram and stuff, just his personal training videos alone are the scariest thing you'll ever watch. But I think he cuts an absurd amount of weight, absurd.
I'm trying to think the last time I've seen him in person. So when he walks in that cage, is he just looking like 2 weights up?
Yeah. He is so on weigh-in day, he's like you've got potatoes and wrapped them with Glad wrap and heated it up. He's just there's a visual for you. But when you see him on the day, it's you've got that same Glad wrap and you've put rock melons in there. If that makes sense,
100%.
He looks like he's 4% body fat when he's cut all his weight, and he looks 4% body fat when he walks in.
When he rehydrates.
Look, I don't know what's happening. Also, do you know much about Aiden Aguilera, where he's at? Because No, actually,
that's another guy you want to keep relevant too. You know what I mean? No, I'm not. You know what I mean? Shout out to Aids if you're listening to us, mate. Give us the heads up on what you're doing at the moment. So he's another guy that's got to stay active within that division too.
Hey, but if you're making that, if you're making that next fight, you're making a fight for, let's just say, Quillan Salkilld title fight. Who do you want to see? Who do you think they'll make it?
Yeah, it'll be if I'm going line and length, Togo I'd love, but as you pointed out, there's 2 different backyards at the moment, which is not what we're chasing, but you get what's going on with promotions at the moment. What's the most line and length is the winner of Martinez Joblin.
Also, I could be wrong here, and I'm not speaking on the promoters at all, but in terms of just you've been around the sport for a long time, has it felt as divided as Hex and Eternal as ever before? Because I feel like Hex has all their fighters. It's almost I know they're not signed, but it feels like they're both signed and both kept. And do you think the promotions are leaning towards that, of going, these are our fighters?
Yeah, but it's hard not to feel that. You know what I mean? And again, you and I are always going to put our point of views because what we are more than anything, we're fans. We want to see number one and number two fighting every day of the week. You know what I mean? But I also get where the promotions are coming from too. They're business runners. They're trying to promote their brand. I get that all too. Where, you know what I mean? It's two completely different end goals.
Yeah, I mean, I could be wrong here, but I heard through the grapevine that the reason why contracts even came in is because, and I once again apologize for speaking out of line, abuse me online, do it as you will. But I believe it was when Ricky Beechan won the heavyweight belt and then went over to another promotion and I think lost. And I think this could just be rumor, but I think that kind of looked bad on the promotion that had the belt beforehand. And they went, well, we don't want that to happen again. So if you're our champion, you can't go anywhere else. Because it does make sense. If your champion goes off somewhere, loses, comes back, everyone's like, well, he's not really the champion.
Yeah, 100%. And I get why it's a little bit more proposed now than it was. Because back in the day, I couldn't commit when I was coming through to one promotion because I wasn't going to get, I needed 3-4 fights a year and I wasn't going to get it. They can almost sort of guarantee that now, even the champions, even the higher echelon guys. Does it play out for Australian MMA for us, for diehard nerd fans? Maybe not, because like I said, I want to see Togo fight Salkilld, you know what I mean? I want to see Luciano and Giuseppe fight, you know what I mean? But is it going to play out like that? Now we've got to sit back and wait and see.
Yeah, I think it's good if you're a young guy. Like, if you're like a Harry Webb, right? I think they're going to throw big fights at you. Like he's now fighting on Hex, right? Eternal will be like, here's a title fight, and then like, you know what I mean. So I do like it for the younger fighters, and it helps promotions get behind them. But even with like Hex and say like a Jarrett Wilbraham, they seem to be going, no, we really like you, so they're kind of putting him on every card. Yeah, so there's positives and negatives to it. And speaking of positives and negatives, Justin Van Heerden, Rod Costa, mate. Look, Rod Costa laying it all on the line, being the eternal bantamweight champion, trying to take the eternal featherweight championship belt from Justin Van Heerden, who is the most favoured underdog I've ever seen in my life. And he's
trying to describe it to everyone. Yeah, absolutely. That's the exact description I use. I said this guy's been an underdog since he came out of the womb. You know what I mean? Like, he just keeps getting it done.
And like, obviously dominating performance, no skin off Rod's nose. He goes back to bantam. He'll probably even work his way back up to featherweight. I've just got a feeling he's going to finish his career. Like, I don't think Rod's going to make it to the UFC. I'm just putting it in my gut feeling, right? But I do think he is going to put Australian MMA on his back in a way, and I think he's going to end up holding 2 eternal belts.
Yeah, 100%. He's got the skills. He's got those skill levels to get that done. You know what I mean? Like, it's one of those things. The worst thing to come from the weekend for him was, he's been known as the most, up there with his jiu-jitsu accolades is his durability. You know what I mean? Jack Jenkins broke his leg and he fought out 5 rounds. Yeah. Like, he's talking about a guy that's tough on the trigonometry. That is the man. So have that. I'm certainly not going to say shattered, but to have that area of his sort of aura dented a little bit. That's probably the worst thing that happened from the weekend. But far worse than losing an MMA fight.
Yeah, but Justin Van Heerden doing well, finishing with strikes, 2 years to the day almost the way he got finished, HBF Stadium, like it was great for him. I don't want to see him in the UFC yet. I selfishly want to see him fight Khan Offley. That's what I want. It's not going to happen, but that's what I want.
1 zillion%. 1 zillion%. I was making notes on my phone as I was watching the show, and all I had was Van Heerden v. Offley, exclamation. There's nothing else. You know what I mean? Sorry, I shouldn't say that because Abdullah Biata is there. And Van Heerden brought his name up. Biata is a beast. Biata's off to the races. He is up there with those guys. He's gone and got himself booked. A very strange matchup. I'll say that straight after when I saw that matchup get made. I was really like rolling my eyes.
That's out. Yeah, that's out. That's out.
Yeah, it's done.
It's done. It's not happening. It's not happening. Few days reconsidered, not happening.
Oh, well, I'm not upset with that. because I seriously gave it the real rock eyebrow with that matchup.
I'll say this. I don't know if I'm supposed to, but I will. Abdallah,
that's what the show. Just go with it anyway.
Abdallah was down. He was ready to fight anyone. Did not care. Like, that's what you got to love that about Abdallah. We're all going, what are you doing? And he's like, I don't care. I'm fighting that guy. Steve made the fight, then went, no, I don't think this is not the right fight to make. And then they pulled out, which, look, you can't blame him. He's in a very unique spot. I wouldn't suggest every fighter does this, but in a rare occasion, obviously a Turner would be slightly inconvenienced by posting it on socials and whatnot. Yeah. But in terms of Abdallah, like, I think we're all pretty forgiving of going, that wasn't the fight for you.
It wasn't. Yeah, it was a really strange one because, like, Ethan's like 2-2.
Yeah.
Super skilled grappler. You know what I mean? And I know big, and he's a monster Beata. I would have had him as favourite, 100%. But this is MMA. It doesn't take much for him to hit a quick single leg and get on your back. So, and then all the hard work you've done over, the past 2 years, that's sort of, you're back a little bit back at day dot. So I'm not unhappy to hear that one's not going forward. Is that almost open up all realms to Mr. Van Heerden now?
I would say. I mean, we're not getting Carnoffley versus Van Heerden.
No,
we're not. But I would say it'd have to be Beata, Van Heerden. And then if Van Heerden went off to the UFC from there, or the kind of winner UFC, whatever, great, fine. But in a perfect world, I would love Van Heerden to fight Beata, and then if he wins, fight Offley, or vice versa, or throw them all around, or they just do a triple threat.
I'll give you my perfect main event. Van Heerden, Offley, go for whatever the world super title, and then co-main event, Beata rematch with Piera.
Yeah, Diego. Yeah,
take that off his record. You know what I mean? So that clears that loss off his record, and then.
That's what I mean. And I want to and this is coming from a guy that is not close to getting signed for the UFC. Everyone, I think, is calling it too early. I think the UFC doesn't need to be notified anymore of you. They all know who you all are.
Yeah.
So I think you keep winning, you clean out your division, they will come to you. That's just my opinion. Now, I know that's easy to say when guys are making $1,500 3 times a year to fight and whatnot. Yeah. Like, I get that, but there's only so much on the card. And that's why I liked what Quillan Salkilld said. He said, I'll wait. He goes, I'll wait. He goes, I got still 4 or 5 more fights to go before I want the UFC.
Yeah. Do you know what? I'm in the same position as you. The avenue from when I was competing and trying to get my spot in there to now is completely different. Completely different. I knew at no stage was I in a position, no matter where I was, to sit back on my hands going, okay, I'm waiting for my chance now, because that wasn't going to happen.
No.
I had to keep going and going. Right now, not that they can do that, but the avenues are a little bit clearer. The Dana White Contender Series and all that sort of stuff. Their avenues are a little bit more straightforward. So I'd hate to see it that anyone would ever have that frame of mind, or that I can see it. I've done enough. Because there's at the moment in all those divisions, even the guys that think they're the case, there's 2 or 3 guys in each division that have done enough. And you want to make sure if they come back and they're looking at that division, you are the only person in their mind when they think about, well, we need this weight in Australia for this time.
Like what Jack Della did and what Stephen Ursig did.
2 great examples. Jack Jenkins, great example. Just
exactly.
Anyone that is sniffing around my number 1 spot, come step in this cage right now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? That's the mindset that I'd love everyone to have.
Oh, mate. Well, love it. Absolutely amazing card. Looking forward to MMA 77, Martinez versus Joblin. That'll be a cracker. And Hex have some really good fights lined up. I believe is it Tasman Fighters with Ben Sassoli fighting in Queensland?
I believe I'm not talking about not supposed to be saying stuff. I believe that's it's been kiboshed, that whole event.
Are you serious?
Yeah, from what I'm hearing. Again, edit this if we're wrong, mate. when you go back and edit the 176 things you weren't supposed to say, just put my one in there too.
No, I just love it. I love it because like I've said 90% of the dumb shit, and now you've joined me, and now we're both getting in trouble.
Yeah, we'll get knocked on the door at the same time.
I'll let you go. Take it
You're
easy.
a guard,
I'll
mate.
see you next time.